Unit I, Information Security Basics to Policies 1.1 Learning Objectives. After going through this unit, you will be able to define security, understand policy, apply procedures for organizational security. 1.2 Introduction. Organizations are becoming increasingly sophisticated in the way in which they organize and use IT. They are spending too much on IT just to take benefits from latest technologies and to boost their business and grow leaps and bounds. We can see it around us in real time. Now, for booking a cab, we rarely have to tell the cab driver our pickup address manually. App detects it automatically. Most of the providers use location-based system, GPS, to track the user and set that address as a pickup location. It's just matter of minutes that booked cab arrives at your place. People have never thought of these 10 years ago. Even organizations are using technology this much. Still, most of the organization are not having dedicated budget for security as they don't see any direct return on investment. Once organization goes through major attack, then they start thinking about security and start spending budget on security things. As a company's part, people should be aware of their security responsibility. For proper security in organization, people, process and technology should be focus area of improvement. In these days, employees are most targeted, because they are easily exploitable. For example, company spends too much in technology and often believes if we are spending on these expensive and advanced firewalls, IDS/IPS, then we must be secure and protected. For this company, attacker manipulated one employee of the company and got the credentials and other details of these latest devices, and in matter of seconds, this company was hacked, although they were using latest technology and they were also spending for security. Now, one question arises in one's mind: where to start if one wants its organization to secure its assets? So the first step is to prepare and follow a security guideline document which includes all the security procedures to be followed while carrying out different processes in the organization, as well as the disadvantage. Before discussing it further, let us familiarize ourselves with some of the common terminologies that we are going throughout our discussion in this chapter. 1.2.1 Glossary. A policy. Policy is a high-level document to represent corporate philosophy of a particular organization. Policies are kept more clear and concise to keep them effective. Basic elements of a policy are purpose, scope, responsibility, and compliance. B. Asset management. Asset management is all about discovery, ownership, value, acceptable use, protection, and disposal of information-related assets. C. Owner. The information owner is the entity within the organization that has been assigned the responsibility to exercise the organization's proprietary rights and grant access privileges to those with a true business need. D. Custodian. The custodian is the entity which is responsible for overseeing and implementing the necessary safeguards to protect assets, at the level classified by the information owner. E. User. User is the person who is responsible for viewing, amending, or updating the content of the information assets. This can be any user of the information in the inventory created by the information owner. 1.3 Detailed description of its security policies. Policies are set with the objectives of reduced risk, compliance with laws and regulations, and assurance of operational continuity, information integrity, and confidentiality. Policies are also known to be first layer of defense. Policies are important reference documents for internal audits and for resolution of legal disputes about management's due diligence. Policy documents can act as a clear statement of management's intent. 1.3.1 Security Policy. Security Policy 1 is a definition of what it means to be secure for a system, organization, or other entity. For an organization, it addresses the constraints on behavior of its members as well as constraints imposed on adversaries by mechanisms such as doors, locks, keys, and walls. For systems, the security policy addresses constraints on functions and flow among them, constraints on access by external systems and adversaries including programs, and access to data by people. Security policy is general statement produced by senior management that dictates what role security will play within the organization. Senior management may be selected policy board or committee. Security policy communicates a coherent security standard to users, management, and technical staff. For building secure infrastructure, security policy is the first step to take. A security policy can be an organizational policy, an issue-specific policy, or a system-specific policy. In an organizational security policy, management establishes how a security program will be set up, lays out the program's goals, assigns responsibilities, shows the strategic and tactical value of security, and outlines how enforcement should be carried out. This policy must address relative laws, regulations, and liability issues, and how they are to be satisfied. The organizational security policy provides scope and direction for all future security activities within the organization. It also describes the amount of risk senior management is willing to accept. While developing security policy, some of the important things should be kept in mind is as follows. Policy creation, implementation, and adherence should be driven by business objectives. It should not dictate objective of business. It should be kept simple so that everyone can understand it easily and serve as reference for all employees and management. It should be developed and used to integrate security into all business functions and processes. It should be derived from and support all legislation and regulations applicable to the company. It should be reviewed and modified as a company changes, such as through adoption of a new business model, a merger with another company, or change of ownership. Each iteration of the policy should be dated and under version control. The units and individuals who are governed by the policy must have easy access to it. Policies are commonly posted on intranet portals. It should be created with the intention of having the policies in place for several years at a time. This will help ensure policies are forward-thinking enough to deal with potential changes that may arise. The level of professionalism in the presentation of the policies reinforces their importance as well as the need to adhere to them. It should not contain language that isn't readily understood by everyone. Use clear and declarative statements that are easy to understand and adopt. It should be properly supported and administered. It should contribute in overall success of organization. While formulation of policies, information system users should be involved. Security policy must be approved by senior management and should be documented and controlled. The success of an information resources protection program depends on the policies, and on the attitude of management towards securing information on systems. The policy maker set the tone and the emphasis on how important a role InfoSec will have within your agency. So the policy maker should be having overall organizational picture so that policy designed by him can cover the whole organization.